Good afternoon, television fans. Big Al here on this Monday, March 30th, 2026, and welcome to episode number 23 of Television Station History. As today we will be taking a look at KCET. So with that, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and get notified every time I go live. Let me fix this real quick. Remember, Huntington Beach licensed KCET TV channel 50, which we talked about in episode 22, which is now up, so you can go check that one out. The two stations share studios at The Point, located on West Alameda Avenue and Bob Hope Drive in Burbank, between the Burbank Studios and the Walt Disney Studios complexes. Channel 28's transmitter is located on Mount Wilson, located within the San Gabriel Mountains, north of Sierra Madre, California. Welcome back, Anna. Now, here are the specs on KCET Los Angeles. The station is broadcast on virtual channel 28. Their digital signal over RF channel 28 is shared with KLCS, which is another PBS station. Their on-air brand is PBS SoCal Plus. We'll look at the sub-channels for the station later. The station is owned by the Public Media Group of Southern California, which also owns and operates KCET TV Channel 50, the main PBS station in LA. Channel 28 signed on the air on September 28, 1964. The station previously aired on UHF Analog Channel 28 from 1964 to 2009. And their digital signal aired on RF Digital Channel 59 from 2000 to 2009. Upon sign-on, KCET was a member station of National Educational Television, or NET. From 1964 until 1970, that was when PBS began, and was an educational independent station from call sign meaning is either California Educational Television, the Committee for Educational Television, Community Educational Television, or Cultural and Educational Television. Either one of those apply. Licensing authority is the Federal Communications Commission. Facility ID number is 13058. The station broadcasts with an effective radiated power of 150,000 watts. The station's transmitter, located on Mount Wilson, is 926.4 meters or 3,039 feet above sea level. Channel 28 also has a network of translator stations, which we'll get into towards the end. Their website is www.pbssocal.org. Now to the history of KCET. Beginning with the background of educational television in Southern California. KCET was the second attempt at establishing an educational station in the Los Angeles area. KTHE, which was operated by the University of Southern California, had previously broadcast on Channel 28 beginning on September 22, 1953. It was the second educational television station in the United States, signing on 6 months and 4 days after KUHT in Houston, but unfortunately ceased broadcasting after only 9 months on the air because its primary benefactor, the Hancock Foundation, determined that the station was too much of a financial drain on its resources. Now into the station history, beginning with its early history as an NET station. KCET, the call letters of which stand for either California Educational Television, Committee for Educational Television, Community Educational Television, or Cultural and Educational Television, first signed on the air on September 28, 1964, as an affiliate of National Educational Television, or NET. This would be the precursor of today's PBS. The station was originally licensed to the nonprofit group Community Television of Southern California, or CTSC. Part of the station's initial funding came from 4 of LA's commercial stations: KNXT Channel 2, which is now KCBS TV, 13, along with grants from the Ford Foundation and the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. KCET initially broadcast in black and white Monday through Fridays. James Loper, a co-founder of CTSC, served as the station's Director of Education from 1964 to 1966, and then Vice President and General Manager from 1966 to 1971. Loper then served as President of the station from 1971 to 1983. Creative person John Burton, a 30-minute film biography of glass artist and philosopher John Burton, was the first color film commissioned by KCET in 1965. It won the first 2 Los Angeles area Emmys for Channel 28 for John Burton and for the production by George Van Valkenburg. George Van Valkenburg also produced a 1-hour documentary film entitled Paris Air Show 1967 for KCET. The station was originally located at 1313 North Vine Street in Hollywood, at what was the original Mutual/Don Lee Broadcasting System building. The facility was also originally home to 2 of LA's first television stations: KTSL Channel 2, which again is now KCBS TV, and KFI/KHJ TV Channel 9, now KCAL TV, both of which signed on the air in May and August of 1948, respectively. Both stations eventually moved out by the early 1960s, just a couple of years before KCET officially took to the air. ABC also began taking up occupancy in the building, using it as a secondary studio facility for its television studio lot near the eastern end of Hollywood, and at the time housed KABC TV Channel 7. Prior to applying for and receiving a construction permit to build the new Channel 28, CTSC attempted to acquire one of LA's 7 existing VHF commercial stations. In 1968, Community Television of Southern California emerged as a potential buyer of KTLA's Channel 5 license from then-owner Gene Autry, but could not raise the cash needed to make a serious offer. If CTSC succeeded in moving KCET to Channel 5, the move would have mirrored a similar occurrence 7 years earlier in New York City, where local broadcasters assisted a nonprofit group in purchasing commercial independent VHF station WNTA TV Channel 13 and converting it into non-commercial educational station WNDT. That station today is known as WNET. As a PBS member station, on our streaming service's inception. For most of the next 40 years, it was the second most watched PBS station in the country, and occasionally produced programs distributed to PBS and to individual public television stations. The station served as Southern California's flagship PBS member station, with San Bernardino licensed KVCR Channel 24, which the San Bernardino Community College District signed on the air on September 11, 1962, as the service's original sole secondary outlet. KCET gained additional competitors when the Coast Community College District signed on Huntington Beach licensed KOCE TV Channel 50 on November 20th, 1972, and the Los Angeles Unified School District, or LAUSD, signing on secondary LA member KLCS Channel 58 on November 5th, 1973. In 1971, KCET purchased the former Monogram Pictures property at 1425 Fleming Street, now Hoover Street, in a historic area of East Hollywood, which was used as a film and television studio from 1912 to 1970 to serve as the station's headquarters, an acquisition assisted in part by financial contributions from both the Ford Foundation and the Michael Connell Foundation. The building was renamed the Weingart Educational Telecommunications Center and housed Channel 28's master control, digital control rooms, ingest, and editing stations on the first floor, and engineering and new media operations and news and public affairs departments on the second floor. In 1994, KCET and Store of Knowledge Incorporated, a Cerritos-based company, launched the KCET Store of Knowledge in Glendale as the first of many partnership stores with PBS affiliates. The store was a partnership between KCET, educational store Lakeshore Learning Materials, and the venture capital firm of Riordan, Lewis, and Hayden, which included former LA Mayor Richard Rodin. The chain continued to operate until 2001. In public relations after the Gulf oil spill, BP started granting KCET half the funding for preschool shows, including A Place of Our Own and Los Niños en su Casa, which is a Spanish language version of A Place of Our Own. The other half of the $50 million grants for the show and supporting outreach programs came from First Five California, plus additional funding from an anonymous donor. The show won Peabody and local Emmy Awards and was shown nationally over PBS. KCET renamed its production studio to BP Studios in thanks. PBS included BP's and other grants from the two previous shows in its complex progressive dues structures, even though the grants came with the stipulation that they could not be used for administrative costs. The PBS dues for KCET had previously been $4.9 million, but with the grants included, the dues increased by 40% to close to $7 million. Other large funding sources that had previously been counted on were shrinking and thus could not be tapped to pay the dues. KCET's request that these specific grants, which were restricted to production only, or show production only, not be counted towards the dues owed was denied. PBS executives indicated that PBS stations were expected to anticipate their dues and increase their reserves to pay them, and therefore would not give special treatment to KCET. With the January 10.5-year payment coming up, KCET offered to reduce their status to a secondary affiliation, reducing the dues owed to a total of $1.3 million. CPB, or the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, would pay $750,000, and a special campaign was to raise the rest. PBS rejected the offer, insisting the station remain as the primary affiliate. As an independent public television station, on October 8, 2010, KCET announced that it could not reach an agreement to remain with PBS and would end its partnership with PBS after 40 years to become an independent public television station, the second largest such station in the United States in terms of market size, behind WNYE-TV in New York City. On January 1st, 2011. KCET station management cited unresolvable financial and programming disputes among its major reasons for leaving PBS. After Channel 28 left PBS, KOCE-TV Channel 50 replaced KCET as LA's primary PBS station. Prior to new affiliation arrangement, KCET discussed plans to purchase KOCE-TV from its licensee, the Coast Community College District, but later opted not to place a bid for the station. A consortium involving Southern California's PBS stations, KCET, KOCE, secondary LA member KLCS, and San Bernardino licensed KVCR was also proposed to be formed to unite various functions, certain programming, fundraising, and marketing to save money. However, Channel 28 would pass on the offer. On February 4, 2011, the Federal Communications Commission fined KCET $10,000 for failure to make its public file available for inspection by the general public. On March 30, 2011, the Los Angeles Times reported that in light of the sharp decrease in KCET's ratings and pledges following disaffiliation from PBS, it was in negotiations to sell the KCET studios in Hollywood to the Church of Scientology, with KCET relocating to a smaller site following the sale. The sale of the property, which was sold for $45 million, closed on April 25, 2011, with part of the proceeds going towards KCET's leasing of the studios until new facilities were found. KCET relocated in April 2012 to a new complex in a high-rise, state-of-the-art building, The Point, located in Burbank. The move left CW-owned and operated station KTLA Channel 5 as the last remaining radio or television broadcaster in Los Angeles that maintains studio facilities in Hollywood until 2025, when Marullo Broadcasting sold off KWHY-TV Channel 22 to Sunset Boulevard Broadcasting, a company affiliated with the Church of Scientology. All other area stations have moved their operations to other LA area neighborhoods and cities within the region. At the end of the 2011 fiscal year, contributions and grants to KCET decreased even further, down 41% from the previous year to $22.3 million. In August 2011, KCET and iTronics Media and Studios, a company owned by former Walt Disney Company executive Dominique Beagle, agreed to partner on producing or acquiring Southern California-focused original series. Merger with Link TV. In October 2012, KCET announced that it intended to merge with San Francisco-based Link Media, owner of non-commercial satellite network Link TV, to form KCET Link, a joint nonprofit venture based in Burbank operating as a single 501c3 multimedia organization. Under the terms of the agreement, KCET would also add Link TV on one of the station's digital subchannels. KCET Link then reached a much wider broadcast audience that includes Link Media's 33 million subscribers on DirecTV and Dish Network, and KCET's 5.6 million households in Southern and Central California. On January 5, 2015, Michael Riley, former executive at ABC Family, now Freeform, was named the new CEO of KCET Link, replacing Al Jerome, who left on January 16, 2017. KCET would later stop carrying Link TV over the air, replacing it with PBS Kids channel. Merger with KOCE and a return to PBS. On April 25, 2018, KCET Link Media Group and the KOCE TV Foundation announced that they would merge. KOCE would remain the primary PBS station for the Los Angeles market, but KCET would return to the network as a secondary member, and both stations would continue to provide their existing programming services. Once the merger was completed, KOCE moved from its Costa Mesa, California facility to the current KCET facility in Burbank, while maintaining the Costa Mesa location as a secondary. The merger closed on October 1st, with the combined company branded as Public Media Group of Southern California. In October 2019, 1 year after the merger with KOCE was complete, KCET officially rejoined PBS after 8 years as an educational independent station. On January 19, 2024, PBS SoCal announced plans to rebrand KCET as PBS SoCal Plus, starting on February 6th. Sub-channel history. In 2006, KCET launched the digital channel KCET Desert Cities for digital television and cable for the Coachella Valley. In September of that year, KCET announced a similar channel for Orange County in partnership with California State University Fullerton to be launched in late 2007, when it replaced a simulcast of KCET's analog signal. In August 2007, KCET began carrying PBS and American Public Television's cultural, news, and history-oriented network PBS World on digital subchannel 28.4 and the Spanish-language educational network V-Me on digital subchannel 28.3. With KCET discontinuing its membership with PBS on January 1st, 2011, Channel 28 resulted its subchannel offerings, or restructured its subchannel offerings. KCET DT 28.2 converted to children's programming to a children's programming service under the brand KCET Kids and Family, itself a conversion of KCET Desert Cities and KCET Orange, with programs seen on the respective channels being shifted to KCET's main channel to occupy a daytime lifestyle block, while PBS World was replaced by MHZ Worldview on KCET DT4. The Me programming continued to be carried on KCET DT3. Channel 28's primary sub-channel offered themed nights during the first year of operation. On January 1st, 2013, as a byproduct of the Link Media merger, Link TV under the brand KCET Link, which replaced the channel's national feed on local cable and satellite providers and simulcasted Link TV licensed content, replaces KCET Kids and Family on digital subchannel 28.2. On August 5th, 2013, KCET replaced MHZ Worldview with NHK World on subchannel 28.4. MHZ Worldview would be moved to a subchannel of KLCS. On March 30th, 2017, KCET ceased carrying VMe on its subchannel as the network transitioned to a commercial ad-supported channel. It was replaced by KCET Link Plus on the same day. KCET Link Plus was eventually shut down and NHK World moved up to the 28.3 subchannel, while the former 28.4 subchannel was discontinued. Programming. While it acted as the flagship PBS station for the Los Angeles metro area, KCET mainly distributed Los Angeles-based productions from other independent producers rather than producing much programming by itself for the national PBS system. The mascot who appears during breaks is Captain Infinity, who breaks the fourth wall. If you know, you know. If you're from Southern California, you probably heard of Captain Infinity. KCET produced Roger Fisher's The Advocates from 1969 to 1984. Bobo Corveri, 1970 to 1971. Leon Russell's Homewood Session, a 1970 TV special. Meeting of Minds, which was produced from 1977 to 1981. And Artbound, which has been produced since 2012. In 1971, KCET began producing Hollywood television theater, TV movies directed by Norman Lloyd, Stacy Keach, Ivan Dixon, Lee Grant, and others. In 1976, the station began producing Visions. It produced the acclaimed Carl Sagan series Cosmos, A Personal Voyage from 1978 to 1979. KCET produced or presented the Cousteau Odyssey, Trying Times, and the Hispanic family drama American Family for PBS. It was one of the consortium of stations that produced American Playhouse. To commemorate the 60th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp, KCET produced a 6-part miniseries in conjunction with the BBC called Auschwitz, Inside the Nazi State. Let me get that off of there. Huell Hauser's California Gold was produced at the Channel 28 lot until the series ended following Hauser's death in 2013. KCET also produced the weeknight talk show Tavis Smiley. and a PBS science show, Wired Science, a television program designed for caregivers, A Place of Our Own, and in Spanish language, Los Niños en su Casa, are taped at the Channel 28 studios, produced with a grant from BP. A few children's programs have also come from KCET, including Storytime, The Puzzle Place, Adventures from the Book of Virtues, The Charlie Horse Music Pizza, and Sid the Science Kid. The latter is presently airing on Channel 50. KCET also produced California Connected, a television news magazine about various people, places, and events throughout California, co-produced with KQED in San Francisco, KVIE in Sacramento, and KPBS in San Diego. The series ended its run in 2007 after 5 seasons. On December 9, 2010, KCET announced its new program schedule after its disaffiliation from PBS in 2011. Programming included movies, travel, science, and drama programs, Britcoms, and news programs, as the station maintains their relationship with programming syndicators American Public Television and NETA, among others, which allows non-PBS stations to air their programming. Some of the programs that were announced and or continued on the new lineup included Globe Trekker, Rick Steves Europe, Bert Wolf Travels and Traditions, The Nature of Things with David Suzuki, which is actually a Canadian program from CBC, The McLaughlin Group, Inside Washington, BBC World News, Keeping Up Appearances, As Time Goes By, Visiting with Huell Hauser, and KCET's news magazine, SoCal Connected. KCET's 2012 schedule included Open Call, a weekly series showcasing arts and culture in Southern California, hosted by opera singer Susana Guzman. Expansion of its interview program LA Tonight with Roy Firestone, Your Turn to Care, a 4-part documentary about caregivers hosted by Holly Robinson Peete, the BBC crime drama Inspector George Gently, the British ITV dramedy Doc Martin, and Classic Cool Theatre, a showcase of classic films, cartoons, and newsreels. Programming additions in 2015 included Moon Boy, Death in Paradise, Border Blaster, and Earth Focus. Shows licensed on Link TV that aired on KCET in 2014 include Arab Labor and Borgen, are also part of the ongoing schedule. KCET added more programs a few years later, such as Zula Patrol and Wonderkind Little Amadeus. Current original programming includes the history series Lost LA, the art series Artbound, and the food series Broken Bread with chef and host Roy Choi. Starting in early 2019, KCET began integrating its originally produced programming with that of KOCE's, including distribution of its programs on PBS video platforms. In addition, KCET also began reintroducing PBS distributed programming on its daily schedule in August 2019, including PBS NewsHour, which is aired live at 3 p.m. Pacific, with the national 6 p.m. Eastern airing. Arampur & Company, Nova, American Masters, and other notable news programs and documentaries commonly found on other PBS member stations. Life and Times. Life and Times was a local news magazine and public affairs series produced by and broadcast on Channel 28 from 1991 to 2007. It was KCET's award-winning signature local program and was hosted by Val Zavala. Co-hosts for Life and Times had included Matt Morrison, Hugh Hewitt, Ruben Martinez, Carmen Maddox, Errol St. Clair Smith, Jess Marlowe, Warren Olney, and Jerry Nachman. Over its 16 years on the air, Life and Times covered major issues such as politics, education, the environment, demographics, transportation, science, culture, and arts as well. It also offered viewers profile features and interviews with authors, community leaders, elected officials, educators, artists, activists, actors, and scholars. While it was on the air, it won more than 25 technical information, looking at the subchannels. All right, and this has the list of subchannels for KCET channel 28 and KLCS channel 58. All right, the main subchannels on both stations broadcast at 720p high definition. The two subchannels on both stations operate at 480i high definition, and all have a 16:9 aspect ratio. All right, 28.1 is secondary PBS programming. The lifestyle channel PBS Create is on 28.2, and NHK World is on 28.3. As for the subchannels on KLCS, secondary PBS programming is seen on 58.1. PBS Kids is on 58.2, and PBS Create is on 58.3. Analog to digital conversion and spectrum incentive auction. KCET began transmitting a digital television signal on UHF Channel 59 in 2000. From that point up until 2007, the majority of the programs, apart from most of those that are aired during prime time, that were carried on KCET's main channel, which, like most PBS stations that transmitted digital television signals during that time period, served as a designated high-definition feed. Differed from the schedule maintained by its analog UHF Channel 28 signal. It was simulcast on digital subchannel 28.2. In August 2007, programming from the main channel was integrated into the HD subchannel to accommodate for spectrum space, while at the same time preserving the integrity of the HD transmissions. KCET shut down its analog signal over UHF Channel 28 on June 12, 2009 as part of the federally mandated transition from analog to digital television. The station's digital signal operated on a high-band UHF channel in the 52 to 69 channel range, which would be removed from broadcast use after the official June 12, 2009 transition date. As a result, KCET selected its former analog channel allocation on UHF Channel 28 for its post-transition digital option or operations. On September 10, 2014, it was announced that after negotiations with KLCS's license, the Los Angeles Unified School District, KCET, and KLCS would consolidate their broadcast signals onto one over-the-air channel band, so the remaining wireless spectrum can be divested during the FCC's 2016 Spectrum Incentive Auction. Both stations would retain separate licenses. Earlier in the year, KLCS had participated in a trial of channel sharing with Ventura, California licensed KJLA Channel 57. KCET has a network of 8 translator stations across Southern California, including K04SB Channel 4 Bakersfield, K25QB Channel 25 Lucerne Valley, K09XW Channel 9 Palm Desert, K35LA Channel 35 Palm Springs, K16FC Channel 16 San Luis Obispo, and K23OM Channel 23 Victorville. And that is the history of KCET Channel 28. As now we've looked at 2 of the 4 PBS member stations in Los Angeles. Coming up in episode 24, we will be looking at KLCS Channel 58 from the Los Angeles Unified School District. Then in episode 25, we'll look at the Inland Empire's PBS member, KCRDT Channel 24. So that's all coming up down the pipe soon. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Special thanks to Anna Rodriguez and Ancon Sanmaz 7783 for joining me. All right, Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on TV Station History. For now, peace out.